All right, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. My stream crashed. Uh, all right. Where were we? We were just about to get into our Elf Lords class here. So let's get into it. Sorry for the technical difficulties. All right. So we've got. Oh, this is a. I've already got a thing that they need to fix for the PDF. The proficiency bonuses are all wrong for levels 1 through 10. As nice as it would be to have a +6 proficiency bonus at level 7, that is not intended, I am certain. So we've got this little table here with levels 1 through 10, what's supposed to be the proficiency bonus, and a summary of the different features available. They used to actually say, okay, here's the name of the feature, but I guess we'll see what exactly they have outlined in here. So, longtime foes of the Dark Lord, endowed with the wisdom of many days, Elf Lords are creatures with an immortal perspective, able to attain the highest peaks of prowess in many fields. Immensely enhanced in power and in knowledge, their abilities appear nothing less than magical to the lesser folk, and legendary elf warriors like Glorfindel and Gil-galad have fought as equals against mighty adversaries such as great orcs, dragons, balrogs, and even the Dark Lord himself. So calling features. As an Elf Lord, you gain the following calling features. So this is a D8 Elf Lord. So for those of you who are more familiar with 5e as opposed to Lord of the Rings 5e, we usually only have 2 hit dice options, a D8 or a D10. Your D10s are going to be your more martials, more hitty-hurdy people, and your D8s are the more squishy folk. Hit points is 5 plus con mod. So first level, Elven-wise. At first level, you gain proficiency in Old Lore, plus 1 of the following skills of your choice: investigation, nature, or performance. If you are already proficient in any one of them, you gain expertise with it. If you already had expertise in any one of them, or you gain it later, you can always obtain a magical success with it without expending a use of the elven skill, even if you are miserable. Oh. If you already had obtain a magical success with it without expending a use of elven skill. I wonder what elven skill is. Interesting. Okay. So the way they word this right away is lending itself to a more multi-class notion. Oh, thank you, Stream Elements, for letting people know I'm live 5 minutes after. So already it's kind of wording itself as if you've taken a level somewhere else. Also at first level, you gain Eladrin heritage, or your Eldarin heritage begins to reveal itself. Choose one of the following options. You can't take the same option more than once. You gain additional Elf Lord features at 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 9th level. So they have some different features here. So they've got Elf Warrior. So these, if you make an attack roll, regardless of whether you hit or miss, you can turn the d20 roll into a 20. What? Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest, unless you expend one of your uses of Elven skill. No action required to restore your use of it. What is this elven skill? I need to know. Does it have it elsewhere? One sec. I need to figure out what this elven skill is. I don't see it anywhere. Okay. We need an investigative break. Elven skill. I wonder if it's in the new cultures that we have. Actually, I don't even need to search the document. I can just probably scroll up here. Elven lights, backgrounds. Where is this elven skill? Do they have it in here? I don't remember reading about any elven skill in the core rulebook, but maybe I'm mistaken. Yes, kindly cleric, I am back. I am sorry. My stream decided to just jump right off, and that's no fun. My stream just froze, which was not great. All right. So I don't see anything that tells me about this elven skill. Haha, had that a few times. Let me go into the core book. So as I said before, I own all of the Lord of the Rings stuff. So elven skill. Oh, what's this? Elven skill. There's something mentioned there. Oh, okay. Elves of Lindon have it. Let's see. I'll zoom in. Like I said, I don't have good eyes. By virtue of their birthright, elves are capable of reaching levels of finesse unattainable by mortals. If you are not miserable and make an ability check that lets you add your proficiency bonus, you can obtain a magical success. You can do so a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expanded uses when you finish the long rest. Okay, now we know what elven skill is. So this was on the Elves of Lindon. I don't know if they had it in the Rivendell supplement, but we will check that out as well. Elven skill. Yeah, no, there wasn't any elven skill mentioned in the Rivendell supplement. But, so in the Rivendell supplement, they had the High Elves of Rivendell. And now we have a brand new High Elves and Wood Elves cultures. And the High Elves here in this new book, it doesn't specify, I don't think, that they are, yeah, it doesn't say that they're specifically from Rivendell. Yeah, magical success is nat 20 just because they are elves. Yeah. Well, and I knew the magical success part. I just had never read the elven skill piece before, but now we know. So they can basically just say, hey, I would like to nat 20 that just because I'm me. All right. Back to our elf lords. So, elf warrior. If you make an attack roll, regardless of whether you hit or miss, you can turn the d20 roll into a 20. Once you use this, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest, unless you expend one of your uses of elven skill to restore your use of it. Freaking elves, yeah. That's the dwarf in you, David. All right, Elvencraft. You gain a craft slot and a craft of your choice from the Scholar's Craft list. In addition, you can expend one use of your Elven skill, no action required, to regain one expended craft slot. This this is already like a little powerful. All of these expend this with no action required to do this powerful thing. Interesting. When you are reduced to 0 hit points and not killed outright, you can drop to 1 hit point instead, and you regain a number of hit points equal to 3 times your character level. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. So if someone hits you, and you get back up at 1 hit point, and then you're just like, oh, I'm level 10. Here's an additional 30 HP on top of that. Oh, goodness. Does this mean that elves are the min-maxers of Middle-earth? Yes, absolutely. This is, I mean, don't get me wrong, this is really cool, because this is, like they said, this is that epic level of play that isn't present in the existing calling options in the Lord of the Rings 5e. So these are powerful folk. And you choose, so you get this at first level, third, fifth, seventh, and ninth. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these that you get. All right, Foes of the Dark Lord. You have advantage on intelligence saving throws, and you are immune to being charmed. In addition, you gain resistance to psychic damage. Okay. I mean, that's nice, but it's not, I don't think, overpowered. Light of the Two Trees. You gain proficiency in 2 saving throws of your choice. In addition, you gain resistance to necrotic and radiant damage. Oh my god, that is powerful. Because you usually gain, your calling gives you proficiency in 2 saving throws. So then you gain proficiency in an additional 2 saving throws. And on top of that, you're resistant to, necrotic and radiant, which I know that there's quite a bit of necrotic in some of the existing stat blocks for Lord of the Rings 5e. I don't know about radiant, but still, resistance is a powerful thing. And having 2 resistances is a lot. Mind pictures. You can speak telepathically to any creature you're aware of within 60 feet of yourself. Any creature? The contacted creature doesn't need to share language with you to understand this communication. Oh, so you just full out Galadriel them. You're just like, hey, I know what you're thinking. Stop thinking that. Come to the mirror. Welcome, the one who has seen the eye. In addition, as an action, you can attempt to craft an illusion in the mind of a beast or humanoid other than an elf or a wizard that you can see within 60 feet of yourself. The target makes an int save, DC 8 plus your... plus your choice of your intelligence or charisma modifier, plus your proficiency bonus. So you could play your Elf Lord as an int or a charisma person, which makes sense, I guess. On a failed save, you create a phantasmal object, creature, or other phenomenon that is no larger than a 10-foot cube and that is perceivable only to the target for up to 1 minute. The mind picture includes sound, temperature, and other stimuli. That is just a low level, like a non-magical spell, basically. The target can take an action to examine the mind picture with an investigation check against the same DC as the saving throw. If the check succeeds, the target realizes that the mind picture is an illusion and the effect ends. While affected by the mind picture, the target treats the illusion as if it were real and rationalizes any illogical outcomes from interacting with it. Depending on the circumstances, crafting a mind picture may be considered a misdeed. Ooh. I mean, you could definitely perform a lot of misdeeds with this. Once you use this feature to create a mind picture, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Unless you expend one of your Elven skill, no action required to restore your use of it. And I mean, as you get up in the levels, like your proficiency bonus is 6. So you can use Elven skill up to your proficiency bonus. So you get 6 uses at, the higher levels. So you could just completely decimate a camp of a camp of hostiles, as long as it's, seven folk, 7 or less folk, and like, because it doesn't take an action, like, no, it doesn't say bonus action or anything like that, so it's a free action. So you can just, you roll initiative, you start out, you place the mind picture, and then free action it to everybody. I think. Let's see. Does it say you? Oh, no, never mind. I'm wrong, because it takes an action to craft it. So it's a free action to restore your use of it, but an action to attempt it. So, okay. That's at least a little bit more balanced. Quicker than sight. You gain the sneak attack feature. The extra damage is 1d6. In addition, you can take 2 turns during the first round of any combat. What? You take your first turn as your normal initiative and your second turn as your initiative minus 10. Oh god. Okay, so you basically get... Oh, that's so cool. That is really, really cool. Who wouldn't take that one? That is a really neat feature. Like, oh, I get 2 initiatives in a combat. So interestingly enough, so I'm an admin for a server, right? And let me fix the picture for you guys. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to how it translated over. All right, there we go. You carry a great burden. Oh, that's just so powerful. So, okay, I'm an admin for a server, right? A D&D Westmarch server. And one of the things that we introduce for DMs is multi-initiative combats, where they can take an existing stat block, and they essentially modify the AXP to give that creature a second turn in the initiative order. There's certain restrictions on what it can do on its second initiative. But one of the things we're discussing right now is how the reactions work with that second initiative. And sometimes you get into some creatures that have like multiple reactions in a round. But it is a powerful thing to introduce a character twice in an initiative order. If I remember correctly, the AXP checks out to be like creature. Don't quote. It's a significant buff. And by introducing this Elf Lord and just buffing them up to 2 rounds in initiative, that's just a lot. I feel bad for the lore master who has to use this elf lord. I guess, you know what? No, actually, never mind. I forgot that these elf lords are geared towards solo play. We're still trying to figure out how they play with others. Radiance of the Stars. Your strikes now carry the Radiance of the Stars. Whenever you hit a creature with a weapon, the creature takes an extra 1d8 radiant damage. Alright. Flavorful. See the Unseen. You gain True Sight out to a range of 120 feet. In addition, you gain Expertise with the Perception skill. If you already had Expertise in it or you gain it later, you can always obtain a magical success with it without expending a use of Elven skill, even if you are miserable. That's cool. That's powerful. True Sight's powerful. Although I don't know its prevalence in Lord of the Rings 5e, if it's as powerful in Lord of the Rings 5e as it is in D&D 5e, but I know in D&D 5e True Sight's quite powerful. I gave a creature True Sight once when I was homebrewing them, and yeah, it's bonkers. Wrath Revealed. As a bonus action, you can strike terror into others with your Elf Lord Wrath. When you do so, each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you who can see or hear you must succeed on a intimidation check. DC equal to 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma mod, or be frightened of you for 1 minute. So it's not like a wisdom save? That's weird to have them make a skill check against an effect. I wonder if they're going to change that in the print, because that seems different. Undead have disadvantage on this saving throw. The creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect early on a success. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend one of your uses of Elven skill, no action required to restore your use of it. Alright. Oops. Oops. Trying to move the screen over for you guys. Alright. There you guys go. I'm getting the hang of this. Alright. Oh, that was all just, all the Elf Lord features. Going on to second level. At second level, and again at 4th, 6th, and 9th level, you can take a common or cultural virtue of your choice. Elf Lords can always choose their cultural virtues from those of the High Elves, regardless of which elven culture they belong to. You can take each virtue only once. As normal, you cannot increase an ability score above 20 using this feature. At 4th level, instead of taking a virtue, you can gain a craft slot and a craft of your choice from the Scholar's Craft list. That feels a little clunky to have, just on that particular level, have you gain the option of a craft slot. It's a little clunky, but so that is all that portion, and then we get to level 8. Elven Mastery. At 8th level, you attack the pinnacle of competence, or you attain the pinnacle of competence in a field, giving you one of the following features of your choice. And then we've got a bunch more features. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you gain one of these. Body Mastery. You have advantage on death saving throws. In addition, at the start of each of your turns, you regain hit points equal to 5 plus your con modifier if you have at least one, but no more than half of your hit points left. Oh my god. So you can just heal? Just insta heal? And it's not even like a action, or it's just a passive effect. Oh, that's powerful. Choose a calling in which you, calling mastery now. Choose a calling in which you have 10 levels. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm starting to understand now. So this is not meant to, I think, be your only calling. I think you have to multi-class in order to be an elf lord. Okay. Calling mastery. Choose a calling in which you have 10 levels. If you choose captain, the number of temporary hit points you grant when you use leadership increases by 10, and the range of your aura of valor and aura of courage increases to 30 feet. If you choose champion, the number of hit points you regain when you use surge of vigor increases by 10, and you can attack 4 times instead of once when you take the attack action on your turn. Oh my god. If you choose messenger, you become immune to exhaustion, and your speed increases by 15 feet while you're not wearing heavy armor. Jeez. If you choose scholar, your Rhymes of Lore die becomes a d12, and the extra hit points a creature regains when you use Hands of a Healer increases to 1d12. In addition, when you roll initiative and have no uses of Rhymes of Lore left, you regain 1 use. Oh. And that's not, there's no limit on that. It's just every time you roll initiative, you just gain 1 automatically, even if you've exhausted them. If you choose Treasure Hunter, if you fail an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, so all the things, you can turn the roll into a 20. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. If you choose Warden, you have advantage on attack rolls against your favorite foes, and your warded lands benefits apply to all lands. I feel like Treasure Hunter is slightly underpowered for this calling mastery compared to the rest of them. Same with Warden. Like it just feels slightly underpowered compared to like, oh, you're immune to exhaustion and you're 15 feet faster. Or you can attack 4 times instead of once, which is just bonkers. Craft mastery. Choose one of your crafts. You can always use it without expending a craft slot. Okay. Senses mastery. You gain blind sight out to a range of 30 feet. In addition, no attack roll can have advantage against you unless you have the incapacitated condition. That's kind of cool. Skill mastery. Choose one of your skill or tool proficiencies with which you have expertise. Whenever you make an ability check that uses the chosen proficiency, you can always obtain a magical success without expending a use of elven skill, even if you are miserable. So if you had like sneak, like just choose sneak, or stealth, and you're always hidden. There's no if, ands, or buts about it. You just, yeah, I'm hidden. At that point, you don't even roll anymore. All right. And then 10th level. Lord of the Eldar. At 10th level, you are counted among the greatest of the Eldar. Increase 2 ability scores of your choice by 4 to a maximum of 24. And that's the end of it. Okay, so elf lords. So they're meant to go to level 20, but it sounds like you're supposed to have a different calling multi-class into elf lord in order to make this work. And then you choose your other stuff. The calling mastery is very powerful, that 8th level feature, but you have to be at level 10 in a different calling in order to choose one of those. So I guess in that way it's restricted. What do you guys think of Elf Lords? I think that they definitely feel very powerful, and they feel very epic. I don't know that I would allow them in a multiplayer campaign because I feel like they're almost too powerful. Unless you had a party that is all elf lords. And theoretically, I think if you did that, you might want to just modify some of this to be more, instead of like elf lords specifically, you just make it lords, and modify some of the wording and some of the choices available so that it's non-culture specific, only at very high levels. Yeah. Oh no, I think some of these might make other players feel insufficient if they were to play alongside them. So I think if I introduce these into a multiplayer campaign, I think I would only do it if everybody was being an elf lord. Because some of these are maybe not completely overpowered, but some of these can definitely make it feel very, very unfair. Like at first level, being able to just have 2 turns in initiative, like that to me speaks main character syndrome. It's not necessarily a player's fault by any means, but it's something to be wary of and careful about. But okay, so that was the Elf Lord. I gotta be honest, when I heard that they were a level 20 calling, I was actually expecting features up to level 20. I wasn't expecting it to be you have to multi-class into something else in order to use these. But that's okay. What do you guys think? Kindly Cleric, would you allow elf lords if you were running a 5e, a Lord of the Rings 5e campaign? I know you are, but I should say with your Lord of the Rings 5e campaigns. All right. Interesting. I need a drink. Okay. So that was our new calling. Let's get into our new cultures because I'm really interested. I mean, I would need other Lord status characters. Yeah. I think that's the only way to make elf lords work. All right. So, as I kind of mentioned before, so we have some new cultures. We've got the high elves and the wood elves. There was in the Rivendell supplement already high elves of Rivendell. which was a new culture. I'm curious to see how that one compares to this High Elves. So we'll see how this lines up. So this chapter provides additional elven subcultures, the High Elves and the Wood Elves. Additionally, the final section offers special rules for creating Elflore's powerful character. Okay, yeah. High Elves. Indeed, there is a power in Rivendell to withstand the might of Mordor for a while. Imladris and Lindon have long served as refugees, for the High Elves, and the time is coming for them to challenge the enemy once more. They are not afraid, but they are sorrowful, for they are few in number and have seen much tragedy over the long years. But they will not forsake Middle-earth and will stand against the returning darkness. Though there are ancient elf lords living in Rivendell and the Grey Havens, their strength is often greater in wisdom and lore than in warfare. And others, like Glorfindel, cannot forsake their duty as wardens. But there are other elves that will follow the example of Eladin and Elrohir and venture forth in search of adventure. Some are so young that they haven't witnessed the ruin and destruction brought by the shadow in their lifetime. Círdan and Elrond feared that this lack of experience might lead them to recklessness and to fall to an untimely death fighting against the enemy. All right. All high elves are tall and lithe and endowed with a great knowledge and wisdom. Their appearance varies, and both in Mithlond and Rivendell can be found elves with tresses as dark as night, or with golden locks or long silver hair. They have one thing in common with all elves. They seem ageless, looking neither old nor young. Typical names. The complexity of the naming conventions of the High Elves is beyond the scope of this document, but here are some examples to inspire you. I'm not going to try and pronounce all those names, but they are there for your guys' perusal. Cultural traits. When you create an elf character, you may choose the High Elf as an alternative to the subculture in the core rules. Ability score increase. Your int increases by 2, and another ability score of your choice increases by 1. That's actually a deviation from their current, the way that they currently do their ability score increases, because I'm pretty sure they usually have 2 defined ability scores in the existing cultures. High Elven lore. You have proficiency in one of the following skills of your choice: investigation, medicine, or old lore. Fading years of the Eldar. High elves can only ever remove shadow points or shadow scars while in Elfland, Lindon, Lorien, or Rivendell. Oh, that's not a buff. Oh, that's exciting. Sorry, that's really cool, actually. So usually in Lord of the Rings 5e, when you guys take your respite in a safe haven, so it could be Hobbiton, it could be I'm trying to think of some places like Rivendell, any place that is deemed safe and free of potential enemies. You guys can, with your the equivalent of downtime in these in the Lord of the Rings 5e supplements, but with your downtime, with your rest, you're able to remove shadow points. And there's actually, during Yule, you can actually remove shadow scars. which are basically the remnants of shadow points, and they're permanent shadow points. And Yule is it only occurs once a year. So it's like a very special time of respite, a special time of rest. It's what do I call it? It's undertakings during the fellowship phase. So your fellowship phase is basically your rest, your downtime, your extended period where you can do more of the role play type things. But for high elves, restricting them to only being able to remove shadow points if they're in elvish territory, oh, that's cool. That's really cool. I mean, that's cool from my perspective. For a player character, it sucks. But I like the role play opportunities that presents for the characters, because it's not as easy for them to remove the influence of the shadow. And what it does is it makes your high elf characters more careful with the misdeeds that they do. Because if they start to accumulate shadow points, unlike the other player heroes, they can't just go to Hobbiton and remove those. That's cool. Okay, moving on. Skilled in words and craft. You have proficiency with one of the artisan tools of your choice: calligrapher's supplies, jeweler's tools, or smith's tools. Extra language. You can speak, read, and write Quenya, the ancient tongue. Standard of living, prosperous. So for those of you that are unaware, there's basically three standards of living, and they are dictated by your culture. So there's prosperous, I think common is the other one, and meager, or frugal, I think is what they say. And this determines your gold, and also some of your starting equipment. The vaults of Rivendell and the Grey Havens are filled with all manner of relics and treasures of the olden days. Although dwindling in number, the High Elves have little need of anything from beyond their borders. Oops. Backgrounds. So in Lord of the Rings 5e, your culture dictates the backgrounds that you have available to choose from. And it sounds restrictive. Your lore master can work with you to homebrew a background if some of these don't fit your needs. But I actually really like it because I think that it speaks true to have to get ready for my next game. Thanks for the stream. Thanks for stopping in, David. I appreciate your support. Have a good game. I think it speaks true to Middle Earth, because not everyone is going to have the same beginnings. Unlike D&D 5e, not everyone has the same opportunities afforded to them. It makes sense that where you're from dictates the kinds of backgrounds available to you. Counselor of Elrond. Elrond is not so proud that he would act hastily without consulting those whose opinion he trusts, and who would not hesitate to point out the flaws within his plans. You are one of those to whom Elrond turns when he has need of advice, your honesty and fairness valued as much as your discretion and wits. This gives you proficiency with persuasion and riddle, calligrapher's supplies, and some distinctive features afforded to this background are that you are fair-spoken and subtle. I don't know about other lore masters. I know in the One Ring system, distinctive features are actually very important in that system, But in Lord of the Rings 5e, I take them more as guidelines. They seem to be suggestions on a personality that you could feasibly do with your character. But I don't think that it has enough weight to it in order to make it have any sort of real effect on your game, because in the core rule system they say you can reward your players for playing to their distinctive features by giving them DM inspiration. I don't really think saying, okay, you have to be fair spoken or you have to be subtle, is really a restriction I want to put on my players. If my players are engaged in roleplay and inspired by their character's personality, I'm going to reward them if they just play true to whatever character they are trying to come across as. I don't think that restricting them to these features is necessarily a good thing. I would say what I would do is maybe have the characters come up with some distinctive features, which might help guide their role play if they ever get into a situation where they're like uninspired to play the personality that they've crafted. It gives them a default setting to fall back to. Elf Lord. To the eyes of mortals, you are as a lord amongst princes, fair of features and noble of heart, yet terrible to behold when angered. You have seen the glory of Eregion and the golden armies of your forefathers, but now all that once was great is faded, and all that you once ruled naught but ruins. This gives you proficiency in intimidation and old lore, as well as jeweler's tools, and it is described as lordly and proud. Guardians of Imladris. Many wanderers have tried to find the secret veil of Imladris, most of them seeking to hear the advice of Elrond and consult the lore of forgotten ages, but others for far less noble purposes. Yours is the task of keeping the last homely house hidden and safe from the ill-intentioned, and of welcoming those who prove themselves true of heart. This gives you proficiency in insight and stealth, as well as woodcarver's tools, and you are fair-spoken and inquisitive. All right. Heir of Gondolin. A long time ago, your kin dwelt in Beleriand, where they were smiths of great renown. They labored long in their proud cities, hidden from the world by a veil of secrecy. But this didn't save them from their dark fate, and now those lands are lost under the sea, along with the great works of your fathers. Your hands cannot replicate the beauty of that bygone age, but this knowledge does not prevent you from trying. This gives you proficiency in investigation and old lore, as well as smith's tools, and you are described as patient and willful. 2 more left, guys. All right. Vengeful kin. You remember well the suffering the orcs caused your kin when they tortured and tormented them in their dark dungeons. Although you freed them, their faces were forever marred by the pain they suffered, and they soon departed for the west. As long as such evil remains in Middle-earth, you cannot contemplate following them. This gives you proficiency in athletics and hunting, as well as a herbalism kit, and you are proud and willful. This actually reminds me of Elrond's wife, Galadriel's daughter, because she was captured by orcs in I think it was the Misty Mountains, and she was tortured, and suffered a great deal of suffering. And she ended up not being able to fully recover in the mind, and so she departed for the Undying Lands after that. Then we've got Wayward Wanderer. It has been many long years since you have called any one place home, traveling the backroads and elven paths of Middle-earth with the wandering companies. You have enjoyed fully what light is left in the world, singing and laughing and playing under the starlight. One day the light will fade and you will return to the west, but not today. So this gives you proficiency in performance and travel, a musical instrument of your choice, and you are described as inquisitive and merry. All right, so that is the backgrounds for the High Elves. So there's 6 backgrounds, which is in line with our typical 6 backgrounds per culture. We will move on to the virtues. So virtues, for those of you that are unaware, virtues are basically feats. So you have your cultural virtues and common virtues. Common virtues are available to any culture, and cultural virtues are specific to the culture you choose. So for example, there is a feature available to hobbits for being small folk. It doesn't make sense that a ranger or an elf would be able to select that, because they are not as short in stature as a hobbit is. So cultural virtues are restricted to the type of culture you choose. The High Elves can choose their virtues from among those of the Elves of Lindon, adding the following to the list. Oh, so they actually have more options than usual. Prerequisite handcraft. You have studied the ancient craft of the greatest craftsmen of your kin, the elven smiths of Eregion. Increase your strength, dex, or int score by 1 to a maximum of 20. You gain proficiency with either jeweler's tools or smith's tools. If you already have proficiency, you can add double your proficiency bonus to checks you make with it. So, expertise. When you use handcraft to upgrade a non-magical armor made of metal, a dagger, a spear of any kind, or a sword of any kind, you can upgrade it with an enchanted reward instead of a normal reward. Oh, that's cool. The enchanted reward must be of elven craftsmanship, and it cannot possess the Bane requirement unless you can attribute the item a Bane first, using runecraft for instance. You can upgrade only one weapon or armor at a time using this virtue, and the item can feature a maximum of 2 other rewards. The way they word that is weird, because it's you can have 3 rewards maximum, but the way they word that is clunky. When you use handcraft to upgrade a jewel or a ring, it can become a wondrous item with 2 blessings of your choice. You can have only 1 wondrous item at a time from this virtue. That's cool. So it's basically like a smith. You're basically becoming an elven smith. Beauty of the stars. Your poise and grace are unearthly and can have a surprising power over individuals not belonging to the fair folk. Increase your charisma score by 1 to a maximum of 20. You gain advantage on all charisma checks when interacting with humanoids other than elves and creatures immune to being charmed. Oh. So even if someone's immune to being charmed, you have advantage on your charisma checks with them? That's cool. When you obtain a magical success on a charisma check, when interacting with a humanoid other than an elf, you can choose to make it charmed by you for 1 hour or until you or your companions do anything harmful to it. When the condition ends, the creature knows it was charmed by you, but retains only a vague memory of what happened. The effect may be considered a misdeed depending on the circumstances. To shift that over for you guys. Alright, Might of the Firstborn. High elves have the power within them to deny the servants of the enemy. Increase one ability score of your choice by 1 to a maximum of 20. When you succeed on saving throw, you can treat the d20 roll as a 20. If you fail a saving throw, you can choose to succeed instead, treating the d20 as a 20. You can do so a number of times equal to half your proficiency bonus rounded down, and you regain all expanded uses when you finish a long rest. Skills of the Eldar. When a high elf is at the height of their skill, even ordinary tasks may seem magical in the eyes of mortals. Increase one ability score of your choice by 1 to a maximum of 20. Whenever you succeed on an ability check that lets you add your proficiency bonus, you can treat the result as a magical success. Oh. So with all the skills you're proficient with, you just automatically, if you succeed on that roll, it's just a magical success automatically. That's cool. If you fail an ability check that lets you add your proficiency bonus, you can spend one of your uses of Elven skill to obtain a magical success instead. You can do so even if you are miserable. That's cool. High elves in the Rivendell Compendium. Oh, I'm glad that they addressed this. The culture and virtues of the High Elves for the Lord of Rings Roleplaying were originally presented in the Rivendell Compendium and have some differences from those described in this book. The latter should be considered the correct and most up-to-date versions. That's good to know, actually. Because I was going to compare, as we got to the end here, I was going to compare the two to see how exactly they compared, if one was more powerful than the other. But I will say this one has a lot more information in it than the stuff presented in the Rivendell Compendium. Because that's just like I think it's like 15 pages or something like that. It's just a little itty-bitty booklet. All right, who's ready for some wood elves? Let's take a peek at what we've got for wood elves. We seldom use any tongue but our own, for we dwell now in the heart of the forest and do not willingly have dealings with any other folk. Also called Sylvan elves, wood elves are the followers of Galadriel and Celeborn, inhabiting the forests of Lothlorien, and those of Thranduil, the Elven king, dwelling in the northern Mirkwood. The wood elves are a reclusive folk, considered by many to be less wise or ambitious than elves of nobler lineage, just because they seem content to rejoice in leading hunts and holding feasts, even under the threat of what lurks in their vicinity. The elves who live in the Golden Woods are a mix of the original wood elves and the grey elves, who came from the west with the first king. They call themselves the Galadrim, the tree people, after their habit of dwelling among the branches of Malorn trees. The elves of Lorien, like their brethren of Mirkwood, seldom stray from their woods, where they have everything their heart desires, but they always mount a careful watch to keep their lands safe from orcs and evil things. Alright. Wood elves dress in elegant but simple clothes, often mirroring the colors of their homeland. White and gray, yellow and gold, green and blue. In war, they wear light or no armor and muted garments, which help them blend in with their surroundings, and they rely on their great bows, spears, and long knives. Typical names. The Sylvan elves used to speak an original woodland tongue, but are gradually embracing the use of Sindarin. Their names are usually in that language. And then there's a bunch of names. All right. guys go. Make it nice and big for you guys to read. All right, let's get into the cultural traits. When you create an elf character, you may choose the wood elf as an alternative to the subculture in the core rules. Ability score increase. Your dex score increases by 2. Sylvan folk. You have proficiency in one of the following skills of your choice: animal handling, nature, or stealth. Standard of living for wood elves is frugal. The wood elves consider themselves under siege at all times and dedicate much of their wealth to their defense. The elves of Lorien in particular do not hoard things and consider their trees the greatest wealth one could have. That's kind of cool. Then there's some beautiful artwork. That's really cool. The art in these books is just next level. I just love the art that they have in these books. All right, so we've got 6 more backgrounds to go through. Let's take a peek at them. A musical legacy. Your father was a minstrel of great virtue, whose work will be praised for countless years. His talent passed along to you, but transformed into a love for the music that lies in plain speech. Your voice is pleasing to all listeners, and you choose your words much as your fingers choose the strings on the harp. You gain performance, persuasion, and a musical instrument of your choice as your proficiencies with this background, and you are described as cunning and fair-spoken. Elf Warden. You have walked the borders of your forest since you were young, observing the incessant watch of the wardens entrusted with the protection of the realms. Inspired by their resolve, you trained and grew watchful and swift. Now you wait for the day when you will be commanded to leave the woods to bring aid to any who would stand against the enemy. You gain proficiency in investigation, stealth, and weaver's tools, and you are inquisitive and wary. And then we've got a little blurb here. So let's read this little blurb. Elf lights. All elves know how to make fires that burn with a magical flame, although it was the wood elves who first devised a way to make these fires capable of enchanting mortals. If you are an elf, you can spend a use of elven skill to light a candle, torch, or lamp as an action. The flame lasts for 1 hour or until you dismiss it using another action. When you dismiss the flame, you may spend another use of elven skill to send creatures within 20 feet of it into a magical slumber. Oh! Roll 5d8. The total is how many hit points of creatures you can affect, in ascending order of their current hit points, ignoring unconscious creatures. Starting with the creature that has the lowest current hit points, each creature affected falls unconscious for 1 minute until they take damage or until someone else uses an action to shake or slap the sleeper awake. Subtract each creature's hit points from the total before moving on to the creature with the next lowest hit points. The creature's hit points must be equal to or less than the remaining total for that creature to be affected. Creatures that don't sleep, such as elves, or that have immunity to being charmed or exhaustion conditions, aren't affected by elf lights. So it's the sleep spell. They made the sleep spell, but for elves. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Okay. The elves are becoming like a pseudo-magical choice in Lord of the Rings 5e. Envoy of the Realm. So back to our backgrounds. You have journeyed far from the borders of your realm with your father on his errands to the courts of men and dwarves. Standing by his side, you have learned much in a handful of months, more than in years spent in the gilded cage of your home. Sadly, you have discovered how the shadow is creeping over the outside world, gaining in strength with each passing year. You gain proficiency in insight, riddle, and calligrapher's supplies, and you are patient and subtle. Noble blood. In your veins runs the blood of elven adventurers of great renown, who in ages past chose to dwell among the Sylvan elves, seeking refuge and peace in troubled years. They say their superior wisdom is reflected in your noble countessance, and much is expected of you in the coming wars. You have sworn never to betray these expectations, and you will die before you see your fair home reduced to ruins. You have proficiency in intimidation, old lore, and smith's tools, and you are lordly and proud. Raft Elf. Okay. You have lived among the Raft Elves, often dealing with the men of Laketown on behalf of King Thranduil. As a sailor, you have learned that the world beyond the woodland realm is wide and, while full of hidden threats, is also populated by other valiant peoples, enemies of the same shadow that your kin have fought for centuries. You gain proficiency in athletics, travel, and water vehicles, and you are eager and rustic. That'd be cool to play a water elf, or raft elf, I guess. I never even considered that as a playing option. Talon Runner. Swift and sure on your feet, you run nimbly between the flets built high in the boughs of the Melorn trees in Lothlorien, carrying news and rumors wherever they are needed. Yet on some occasions your swift feet carry you much farther afield, as you are sent to gather tidings of lands outside the Golden Wood. You're skilled in acrobats and explore, as well as woodcarver's tools, and you are bold and merry. Cool. So those are the backgrounds of the wood elves. I like them. I think I like them more than the high elf backgrounds. They've got a very ranger-esque feel. All right. Virtues of the wood elves. So wood elves can choose their virtues from among those of the elves of Lindon, replacing memory of ancient days with the following. Okay, so they only have one virtue available to them. Probably the 6 virtues, but instead of memory of ancient days, they've got folk of the dusk. While fond of the sun, the wood elves find themselves at greater ease under moonlight or starlight, or among the shadows of a forest. Their senses are keener, their burdens lighter, their movements exceedingly sure and graceful. Increase your dex or wisdom score by 1 to a maximum of 20. Your base walking speed increases to 35 feet. You gain dark vision out to a range of 60 feet. You can attempt to hide even when you are only lightly obscured by dim light or foliage. Cool. Okay. And then we've got a couple little additions here. So we've got Lembas and the Bow of the Galadrim. Lembas. It fed the will, and it gave strength to endure, and to master sinew and limb beyond the measure of mortal kind. Lembas, the waybread of the elves, is a thin cake, lightweight and tightly wrapped in leaves. Each of them has the power to sustain a man for long days of travel. In fact, 1 pound of lembas counts as 5 pounds of food. The potency of elvish waybread increases further if a creature relies on it alone and does not mingle it with other food. As long as a creature only feeds on lembas, 1 pound of it counts as 10 pounds of food instead. Oh. So they're saying that Sam shouldn't have made rabbit stew? Lembas is not available for sale. It is custom that only elf women should make waybread, and only an elf lady of a house of princes should keep and distribute it. It is seldom given to mortals, and only as a sign of great favor. As a special Yule Fellowship phase undertaking, A female elf player hero who has both proficiency and expertise with the herbalism kit can ask Arwen, if Elrond is their patron, or Galadriel, if she is their patron, to be taught to prepare lembas. Once they have learned the recipe, starting from the next fellowship phase they spend in Lorien, the elf player hero can prepare lembas on their own. While in Lorien, as a special fellowship phase undertaking, you can prepare a number of lembas rations equal to your proficiency bonus, or to 5 times your proficiency bonus during a Yule fellowship phase. And then Bow of the Galadrim. Praised be the bow of Galadriel and the hand and eye of Legolas. The bows of the Galadrim are larger than normal bows, but they are light and easy to wield. They are bent with a single string of elf hair that will never break and can be left strung at all times without being damaged. The shafts from its quiver aim true and pierce deeply. A bow of the Galadrim is a great bow. When you make an attack roll with it, your target gains no benefit from cover other than total cover, and you suffer no disadvantage due to long range. In addition, when you score a critical hit with the Bow of the Galadrim, you can roll 1 additional weapon damage die and add it to the extra damage. Cool. So it's just like a really powerful great bow. Acquiring a Bow of the Galadrim is no easy feat, as these bows are usually only bestowed to elf archers of exceptional skill. An elf player hero can choose a Bow of the Galadrim as an alternative reward to the normal ones, while another player hero must first prove their skill by hitting a target at long range 3 times in a row, AC 10, disadvantage on the attack roll due to long range, under scrutiny of an experienced elf bowmaster. After succeeding, the player hero can choose the Bow of the Galadrim as their next reward, or replace one of their rewards with it. Very cool. I love the reward system for Lord of the Rings 5e. It breaks so many balance issues that exist otherwise in the system. Oh, that's cool. Oh, all right. So, that is our first chapter, or rather our appendices. So we covered our brand new culture, our brand new subcultures, high elves and wood elves. We also covered our brand new calling, the elf lords. Exciting stuff, very, very exciting stuff. If you guys are liking what I'm reading, this is available right now for pre-order. So from Free League Publishing, you can reach out on their website and pre-order their book. You will gain early access to the PDF document, which is what I am sharing on the screen here. And then when the books are actually printed and released, you will also receive a hard copy, hardcover book. This artwork, like, look at that. That's beautiful. That's just gorgeous. Sorry, like, I just love the artwork in these books. Like, look at that. Beautiful. All right. So, that is at least one of our chapters out of the way. We've still got a whole lot of stuff to cover, and we will continue to cover this as we go on in my future streams here. If you are liking what you are seeing, please be sure to follow, subscribe, like, share. We will be covering the rest of this book, The Keepers of the Elven-Rings, by Free League Publishing for the Lord of the Rings role-playing for 5e system. If you guys do not want to play D&D 5e, that is okay, because Free League Publishing also has their own dedicated tabletop roleplay game called the One Ring system. And this is a specific system formulated and geared towards Middle-earth play. It plays beautifully. A lot of people feel that it is that it is a great system, a very fun system geared towards playing in Middle-earth. I have only ever heard good things from people who have played the One Ring system. Because of my prevalence for D&D 5e, I went for the D&D versions of these books. And now I have all of them. But we have 3 very, very full sections to cover in future streams. Like I said before, where the West Elves still linger, the days darken, and landmarks. So if you like what you're seeing, please be sure to keep in touch with me. Hit those buttons on Twitch, hit them on YouTube, so that you can stay up to date with my stream. My baby is now awake, so I will be shutting down for the day. But if you guys are looking for other streamers to reach out to, other streamers who do Lord of the Rings content, we do have the Kindly Cleric. So Kindly Cleric is someone who joined us this morning. He does D&D content, tabletop RPG content, and Tolkien content. He does Middle-earth Mondays. That occurs at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on Mondays. I actually had the opportunity to take part in his stream this past Monday, where we had a lot of fun talking about War of the Rohirrim and the history of Rohan. So be sure to check out the Kindly Cleric for lots of Lord of the Rings content. I am sure at some point I will probably team up with him to get his thoughts on the Keepers of the Elven-Rings. We also have a streamer who is going to be probably streaming right away here. And let me make sure that I am giving you guys the right spelling of this. One moment. I gotta make sure that when I'm doing these shout-outs, I gotta make sure that I'm shouting out the right people, because I don't want to mess these up. All right, there's the name. So someone who's going to be streaming probably later today, probably actually right away, based on their history of when they stream, is the Death Save Society. Oh, I need to wait 10 seconds before I shout out. We will. So the Death Save Society is a D&D streamer. His name's Rain. He does lots of cool content regarding D&D, D&D horror stories, D&D hope stories, talking about everything from his current campaigns to other tabletop RPGs, D&D content. He's a really good streamer, and he is working on his path to affiliate. I am also working on my path to affiliate, so please do follow me. I would really like to gain the support by Twitch to continue to do this. But Death Save Society is a really good streamer. He does really good content. There's lots of good talks with the chat about D&D, so please do check them out. They should be streaming later today. I'm sure he'll be streaming right away here, so do head over to the Death Save Society. And then my final shout out of the day, and it's of course going to give me grief if I try and shout them out right away. So I will talk about them a little bit first. So Malcolm Hinson 4. So let me, I'll see if it'll allow me. 34 seconds. Okay. So Malcolm Hinson 4, he does a show called The Tale Teller's Tavern. And it's very hard for me to say all those T words because of my speech impediment. But Malcolm does D&D content. He usually is prepping for sessions. I think he's got 4 in-person sessions that he does preparation work for, including a Tomb of Annihilation campaign. So he does streams about doing that preparatory work, about maps, traps, creatures, homebrewed content, official content. And Malcolm actually joined me on my stream last time I streamed. So Malcolm is a really great streamer who does very good content regarding all things D&D 5e. So if you are looking for chill chats about D&D, it's very laid back. Malcolm also does a few like variety streams. I think lately he's been doing Stardew Valley with some buddies of his. But he's got a great community going for Tale Teller's Tavern on Discord. And it's all just very laid back D&D content. So please be sure to check them out. All 3 of these folks, their names and information are in my on my Twitch page as recommended pages for you guys. So if you did not catch them in my chat, you can capture their names in my suggested channels to watch. All 3 of them do great stuff. I'm going to be working closely with the Kindly Cleric for their Middle Earth Mondays, coming as a guest on a semi-regular basis. So on Mondays, you're going to find that instead of coming here to stream, I'm going to be over there talking about Tolkien stuff. So be sure to follow all of these people for more information. If you guys like what you've seen, like, share, subscribe, follow. I am on Blue Sky, which is the equivalent to Twitch, the Phoenix, so the ph03n1x.bluesky.social. It's like Twitter, but better. All of the information about when I am streaming next will always be posted on my Blue Sky. I also have a Discord account. I don't have a Discord server, at least one for the public. But if you guys want to reach out to me on Discord, feel free to message me using that information. I have a YouTube, the.ph03n1x, the Phoenix. And then on Twitch, I'm the Phoenix, the ph03n1x on Twitch. Lots of numbers. Sometimes people use my username and never do anything with their account, which is frustrating. But be sure to follow me wherever you gain your streaming services. I am privileged to be able to stream for you folks on a semi-regular basis. And I am very excited to be able to deep dive into this content with you guys over the course of the next couple weeks here. So consider it Christmas or Hanukkah, whatever holiday you celebrate this time of year. It is the season of giving, and we are definitely going to have lots of content in the future for you guys. All right. I'm going to sign off now. You guys have yourselves a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Thank you for stopping by the stream, and take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time.